Welcome back to the His and Her Money Show with America's #1 money couple. I'm Talaat.
And I'm Ty, and we're from hisandhermoney.com, where we're managing money, marriage, and everything in between.
So glad that you guys have tuned back into the show, and we are super excited that you did because we have another awesome debt-free story to share with you. And do you know why we share these stories with you? So you can know that real people are paying off real debt and that you can do it too.
That's right.
And today's episode is no exception. We're going to be talking with a gentleman by the name of MJ who has an incredible story of perseverance, creativity that ultimately led to him paying off a bunch of debt.
So let's take a look at his story.
Hey, MJ, welcome to the His and Her Money Show.
Yes, let's go. Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
And we're excited that you are here with us. You have an incredible story where you have paid off a bunch of debt. And we know that our audience can't wait to hear how you've done it because it'll inspire them and show them that they can do the same. But before we get into your story, can you just take a moment and introduce yourself to everybody and let them know what you're all about?
Firstly, thank you, and thank you to the listeners, and just thank you for this opportunity. So I'm MJ, or MJ Bridges, from Racine, Wisconsin. I'm an educator. I taught high school math for 5 years, and now I'm in transition. Now I'm trying to educate the masses about paying off debt. So I've been in Atlanta 3 years. I'm an Atlanta enthusiast. I love Atlanta. I think it's becoming one of the greatest international cities. The rate that is moving. I'm big on positive psychology and strengths, and I'm gonna talk about that with the story, just how I really train myself and put myself in a very positive atmosphere because it's gonna be tough. I'm big on like strengths finders. My top 5 strengths are connectedness, futuristic, belief, intellection, and positivity. And I really, really enjoy stuff like that. Oh, and I'm a runner. I love running. If you ever come to Atlanta, you want to take a run. I'll be doing a marathon real soon in my first half. And that's actually been a part of the journey with paying off debt, getting into an exercise that I enjoy that kept me positive and going. So
Awesome. So we're here to talk about you eliminated a bunch of debt. So let everybody know, how much debt was it when you started this journey? What type of debt was it? And tell us where you're at in the process of destroying this debt.
okay, cool. So it's approximately $70,000. And that was at the age of 25. So, and it was, and the majority of it was not from college, at least from student loans. So I had about $28,000 of student loans, and my credit cards actually was the worst. I had about $30,000 of credit card debt. I'll tell you how I got that at that young age. And then I had my car. You had like $14,000, $15,000 left on the car. And that's really where the debt started. It started when I go back to 2008. I pledged my fraternity in college. And I think like after that, I just was careless. Like I spent a lot of money doing that. Then I just was careless with my credit cards. I've always like paid attention to my credit cards, but I got 2 of them in college, and I would like do stuff, especially when we go on a trip. I would, put the money on the card, and then they give the money back, but I'll just take half of it and put it on the bill. So that process just kept going. Those habits just kept going, and out of undergrad, I only came out with $3,000 of student loan debt. It was during my master's program where I accumulated the other about $25,000 of student loan debt, and then also more consumer debt. So I had like my Best Buy card, I had a Macy's card, I had the American Express card, a Master's Discover card, like 6, 7 cards. And I always thought I managed them well, and I always paid attention to credit. Like I'm big on the credit scores, but it just got overwhelming. It got overwhelming, and they kept, raising my credit limit, and I just kind of kept going with that same flow and didn't have any discipline. And so, yeah.
So, I mean, between student loans, credit card payments, and car payments, that's the American dream. That's what everybody's doing. And you became accustomed to it. Like you said, you had 6 or 7 cars. It kept raising the limit. So you were on top of viewing your credit score. You thought you were managing things well. What was it? What was the turning point? What opened your eyes, and what made you start to begin to think differently? And what made you start to say, you know what? I'm not heading in the direction that I want to head, and I need to do something different.
Wow, here it goes. I moved to Atlanta in 2013, and I came here just with aspirations to be a speaker, And I said, let's go to Atlanta. Again, it's a very attractive city right now. So I got down here within the first 6 months. I was working at a high school in DeKalb County, and I was on I-20 driving for 15 minutes, and my gas light lit. And I was, oh, okay, pull over and get some gas. I pulled over and all three of my cards I had in my pocket were declined, and I had no cash and barely any balance on my Wells Fargo. So it was a big transition. I maxed everything out, and I literally dropped a tear. Like I dropped a tear in the gas station parking lot because I've been driving at that time since I was 15. So that's like 10, 11 years, and this has never happened to me. And it makes you question, like, I thought I did things right. I went and earned a master's degree. I'm coming down here, I'm trying to pursue things. And it was that moment where I came back home that weekend, and one of the credit card companies called me, and that's like never happened for Ralph. I always at least pay my bills on time and things like that, and have a great length of credit history. Nevertheless, they called me, and I was just like so disappointed in myself at that moment. It was just that one call too, in addition to what just happened at the gas station. And so that's the moment where I declared to not live with consumer debt again. And I immediately started to create a plan. And I started by writing a vision. And that was like one of the biggest activities that helped me. So, and my vision was simply to be debt free. And so I kind of projected myself in the future. I would say, like, I would start it off like, I'm so excited. It's September of 2023, and I'm walking in this new land. I'm in my new neighborhood, and I'm going out to the market. And it's talking about me living on an island. That's where I eventually want to get to. And it's so, in order for me to get to that vision, I'd be very descriptive with my vision, and I make it very personal. I describe everything and what I'm doing, but that vision is still in my head today, and that's still where I got to get to. But I said, in order for me to get there, I need to do something with my finances, and that actually keeps me disciplined and motivated. A vision. So journaling became something I've been doing now. It'll be a year in December since I've been on this journey as well. Journal every day to keep myself positive because I'm living a very disciplined lifestyle. And yeah, so that was the big turning point. If I answered the question, that was the point. It was at the gas station, and I said no more. Look what's going on. I'm in debt.
Now you went from the point where you're at the gas station and you get the decline, and now you're living a very disciplined life, even in your thoughts. So let's fill in the gaps there. How do you go from that mentally crushing moment where you have three cards all get declined? Now you're the person who is envisioning a life that you want to get to and using that as fuel for your decisions today. So, I mean, because you had six cards, you had, I think you said $30,000 in credit cards. So you're used to spending, buying, using credit. Was it just a light switch that turned off once you declared that I need to do something, or was there a process? How did you get your mind to the place where you're at today, where you are disciplined in your thinking?
Yes, thank you. So it started with the vision and with writing down. Like I wrote down where I want to go, and then I literally sat down with my debt. I call it acknowledge your debt. And so that started to this mind process, and that's where I have to go back and look at my spending accounts or my summary, and it's hard to do that, especially when you're just really spending. You're like, okay, I spent that much that day, okay, So I have to go look at that and really accept and acknowledge that, yo, this is my debt. I did it, and it's because of me. And so I didn't play a pity party and too long at all. I knew it wouldn't get me anywhere. So after that vision, I had to coach myself. So I got big into positive psychology. So whether it's watching Oprah Super Soul Sunday, reading, doing the affirmations, the journaling, I began to change lifestyle habits. So I would to discipline myself, especially like even being, I'm very social with my frat brothers and people like that. And I'm in Atlanta. People come to Atlanta to have fun and turn up. So I had to say no, no, no. I'm focused on this, and that's kind of how it started with the mindset, with the mind frame. Again, positive psychology. I began running. So running has been a part of this. It's been a spiritual process. Honestly, it's been very spiritual. I started distance running, and that keeps me going. That keeps me motivated. You have your endorphins going. It just keeps you like focused on your goal. And so I always try to encourage people like, well, find things that you love to do and that don't cost money for real. Money, running and costs a lot of money at all, and journal. And you got to keep yourself positive on the journey.
Now you talked about the fact that you're in a major metropolis area in Atlanta that's known for fun and nightlife and young guys and gals just being social. So how in the world are you able to go on a debt freedom journey with I'm sure the frat brothers and friends and all that are like, come on, just this time, like, what are you doing? Like, talk about the response from them, from those people in your circle, and how you were able to kind of stave off, their pursuit of bringing you back into your old ways, and how are you able to stay focused and maintain your discipline as you were paying off this debt?
Okay. Okay. Cool. So if I understand, I'm gonna try to answer that first part, which was how did I kind of like stay disciplined from the Atlanta lifestyle, and then it continues with the frat. One, well, I got into it. So I actually one of my jobs, I worked 4 jobs my first 15 months, and I was eliminating debt. And one of them was if you're gonna work some other jobs, make sure one of them is really fun. So one was at a nightclub here. So I love to dance. I'm a people's person. It was perfect. I used to DJ in high school, so it just went there. And I used to come in there, happy Saturday. And everybody used to look at me crazy, like, what? I'm like, no, this is my fourth job. And it made me income. And I also had the opportunity to socialize at the same time. So that was like one, like a strategy, if you will. Find something that you really enjoy doing. You can make some extra money. If you're 9 to 5, especially, is stressful, make sure that the second or third job has some type of a fun aspect or something that's in your passion field, if you will. Also, they thought I was crazy. They're like, you're not living life. Like you have to have fun sometimes. But I think once they saw how serious I was, and then now even like today, they like, wow, like man, we should have been doing that. But also like you still can go have fun. That's what the budget is for. And look at the budget in that aspect. Your budget, it does allow you to go have fun. It does allow you to have some type of entertainment. You just have to scale it down. So that's really kind of what happened. I actually got into it, and then I just very serious. And they thought I was crazy, and then they started seeing the results. And it's like, wow, okay, I get it. So keeping them off my back, it was challenging, but you have to learn how to say no. You have to learn how to say no.
Agreed. Now, where are you at in the debt payoff process? You told us where you started. Where are you at today in that journey?
I'm about $25,000 away from finishing. Um, and it should be done really fast. So this is what's going on. The Department of Ed. So I taught math for 5 years. And I taught math in a public school that was high needs. So one of the strategies, excuse me, was that I've used teacher loan forgiveness. So if you teach math, science, or special ed, they'll forgive you for $17,500. So I paid down the 28,000 up to I got exactly 18,792. I think $18,792 in my student loans. So I intentionally paid it down to that. So after my 5th year of teaching, which was this past May, I was going to get the loan forgiveness. Well, they did not forgive me because they said I didn't start the third school year when I transitioned to Atlanta, I didn't start school until October. And that was 8 weeks after. It has to be a complete year. I'm like, really? Oh, I was distraught. I was like hurt, So this was late July. I heard this news, and I talked to a few representatives. I had been uploading stuff into Fed loan services like all summer long. Like, okay, let's get this going. I'm getting excited. I'm gonna be done. And for them to give me that news, I was like hurt. I was dismantled for a couple months, like August and a little bit of September. I was like, what? So recently, though, I called him back. Someone was like, MJ, you didn't even fight it though. Why didn't you fight it? I said, I don't know. I really didn't like fight it that much. I think I was so just hurt from the news. It's something I've been working on or working towards. And for them to just say something, I thought that was very shallow in a way. I'm like, I missed the first 8 weeks. I didn't get a job. I was in transition. You see the move. Nevertheless, they it's looking good right now. And I found some not even loopholes, but just policies through the Department of Ed that says if you worked at least 63% of the academic year, that's considered a full credit of a year. So real soon, that'll be gone. I got a lot of faith. It's looking really good. I know something probably later this week in terms of going through the first channel, but I give it about a month and that'll be done. So I feel like, so with that being said, I will only have about $1,200 of student loans remaining. I just eliminate that right away. And then I have about $6,000 in a credit card.
Wow. So far, you said this has been about a 15-month process thus far?
I've been paying debt. It'd be 3 years in January. 3 years in January.
Wow, that's an incredible amount of debt to destroy in such a short period of time. Now, I know a lot of people heard you said, I was working 4 jobs. And they're like, how do you work 4 jobs? So kind of lay that out for us. How in the world did you find time to work 4 jobs?
Okay, so I know I have kids. That helps. That helped me at the time. But also, I'm a math teacher, and the math. If you want to be a teacher, a math or a science teacher, highly needed. So I got the my 9 to 5, which it was a mile and a half from my apartment. It was perfect. I transitioned from that school to DeKalb County, and I came to work for APS. They pay more, and it was just a total different lifestyle change because I used to bike to work then. I would, which was saving me money. So work was down the street, and then I worked for 2 tutoring companies as well. So I would tutor after school at a different high school, and at a tutoring center. So I worked at a physical center, and then I would tutor at different high schools for another company. So my days, would be literally from like 7 a.m. to almost 8 p.m. I mean, there were long days. And then on the weekend, I even tutored on Saturday morning. And then Saturday evening, I went and I was at the nightclub all night. So it was a very intense schedule. I did this for about 15 months straight, up until April 2000, I want to say 15, April 2015. Yep, I did this for a long time, and it paid off, but it was tiring. It was tiring. The Sundays were my only really day, and sometimes they weren't free, especially if we had special events or anything at the nightclub, but it was pretty intense.
Now you're talking about the intensity. I mean, working 4 jobs is almost like wow. And you talked about how tired you were. You kind of outlined, some of the obstacles that you've gone through over this 3-year journey. In the midst of all the tiredness, in the midst of the obstacles that popped up as you're going through this process, how did you stay motivated and not kind of throw in a towel or not take a break that never ended or anything like that? How did you keep your focus? Because a lot of people don't necessarily have a problem starting the journey or starting this new way of handling money, but when things pop up, they usually have a difficult time staying on track and staying motivated. So how were you able to do so?
Hopefully, reflecting back on like certain things, like reflecting back on your journey. So I know like a person like Dave Ramsey talks about maybe the snowball effect and, pay one debt at a time. Like once you see one of those debts go to zero, that's a motivational factor. It's like, oh, okay, let's try this one now. Also, again, I train myself with positivity, as it don't sound cliche because it's real. positive, like the affirmations, that type of stuff. Write down. I keep a journal and I write down 3 to 5 things that I'm grateful for every day. And that just like help, although like I felt down about this, and although sometimes your budget don't go like the way you wanted to go. There's plenty of times where I thought this was going to be done by then and it's not. In this situation right now, I thought it was going to be completely done by now, but I'm not. So even this month, same thing. Affirmations though, stay positive. You got it. Keep going. So affirmations, having a support system. I did have a support system, my family and my partner. So I had a support system, and it goes a long way. But uh, yeah, keeping yourself motivated. I said journaling, the family, and reflecting back on your day to see, and reflecting back on your journey. Noticing the awards that you have. Okay, I did this. I paid this, so I can keep going now.
Now, a lot of people hear the word budget and they think like, no way, that's like restricting. That's going to prevent me from having fun. It's going to be the end of my life. What role did budgeting play on you being able to pay off so much debt?
Oh my goodness, it was probably a good 50%. It was there outside of just discipline and the positive psychology message. Because in budgeting, I simply just write down I use a Google Doc and I just type. It's nothing extreme. There's no Excel. I don't use Excel, anything. I just write down, this is what I need to be spending here. This is what I'm going to spend here. And there, for people, you can get suggested like budgets or suggested amounts, but I always say go back and see what you're spending. Like what are you spending on entertainment? Okay, how could you scale that back? There's always money in your budget too. I found a lot of money in my budget. So it what like we have all these accounts like these the Netflix and the Hulu and the Apple Music, and it adds up. It take some of that off. You don't need it. Like, in my case, excuse me, I'm like, okay, I don't need this. I don't need this. Look how much money I could be saving here. So budgeting though is a great tool, and don't be afraid of it. Again, you can put your entertainment and stuff in the budget. That's what the budget allows you to do. It allows you to go have fun. So I try to help people look at it in a very positive light versus something like, no, it's not going to allow me to do this. It actually will allow you to do that.
Absolutely. Now, on this 3 year journey that you've been on, it's been incredible. It's been full of ups and downs, twists and turns. What's been the biggest life lesson that you've learned along the journey thus far?
Oh, wow. That is huge. Believing in yourself, and also knowing that if you create what you create, like in your mind, it really happens physically. Like, so I try to so much create, the whole, again, the positive outlook. Like, no, I do this now. If I sacrifice this now, it's going to be okay for the future. It's going to really help bring out my future. So, yeah, what you create in your mind, like, don't like down yourself and say, I can't do that. Or, it's tough. It really is tough. But once you get going and you see those results, it's so worth it. It's so worth it. So, yeah, the biggest life lesson is, two, believing in yourself, and then what you create in your mind, really comes true. That projects your physical world. So I created a debt-free vision, and I'm almost there.
Awesome. Now, along the way, we love to tell people, immerse yourself in knowledge and understanding how money works. So, are there any book recommendations that you would offer to the audience as good resources for them to kind of up their knowledge base around personal finance?
Yeah, I read a few books. I read like it's a mix of finance and also personal development. Think and Grow Rich, of course, that's a classic. I love it. Also, The Debt Escape Plan by Beverly Herzog. That was really good. She has some like where she creates this personality, like money personality. She's very kind of candid in her talk. It's an easy read. I really enjoyed that book. There's another book I got from the public library. It's called Zero Debt. It's older. It's an older book, but it's also kind of enlightening. It made me realize I had some money somewhere I didn't know. Like I forgot I left some money in Indianapolis under my like retirement at the time from that district, and it was just sitting there. I pulled that. I was like, I didn't know that, so I read that book. I forgot about it. So, but those books were awesome.
Awesome, awesome. Now, what if there's somebody tuned in who heard your story, felt like, man, that's incredible. I can't believe MJ did that. That's awesome. But then when they try to project it on themselves and try to see themselves in your shoes, they're not so confident. They feel like maybe their situation is a little too overwhelming to make any type of progress like you've made. What words of encouragement would you offer to that person right now?
Yeah, I would encourage them to look at the good things that's going on in their life and use that as a springboard to get to where you want to go to, which is essentially become debt free. Utilize your resources and your talents that you already have. Like, I'm big on letting people know that you are already valuable. You already can do it. You have to just tell yourself, keep telling yourself, repetition, and then you're going to believe it, and then it will work. So I would just encourage that person to focus on the positive, their assets. Don't have uh, a deficit way of thinking. Think on all asset. Like, think you already have it. You already got it. Just focus on what you have, like whether it's your job, and you can get other jobs, and you can use your strengths and your abilities to make more money or really to complete this journey. That's what I would do.
Awesome, awesome. Now, MJ, can you take a moment and tell everybody that's listening more about your site, younganddebtfree.com, and how they can connect with you?
Yes, so younganddebtfree.com, and thank you for that. Younganddebtfree.com is a new site. It's a blog, and I just give tips, strategies, both on personal finance, budgeting, and personal development. So I'm big on the positive psychology, as I keep mentioning, and so I just kind of talk about those. I also have a service where I'll be speaking and giving debt-free presentations, also talking about credit cards, and how to effectively erase credit card debt. I talk about the student loan debt. Of course, in our country, the student loan debt is crazy, and so I talk about just options. Like, a lot of people I found didn't know, really what kind of option they were set up when paying their student loans. So the blog is to help and inspire young professionals to eliminate debt, and so you can find me there, or at Young and Debt Free, all one word, on Instagram, or my email is on there as well, mjbridges@younganddebtfree.com.
Awesome. MJ, we appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule to share such an incredible journey with our audience today. So thanks so much for coming on the show.
I thank you so much.
Wow, wasn't that amazing? Listen, guys, here we are again with another story, a reality. This is real. This is not some fantasy for the select few. We've given you married people, and now here's an example of a single person. We've given you high income earners. We've given you a guy here that went out and worked 4 part-time jobs.
Amazing.
It just
Oh
goes
my
to
gosh.
show you that debt freedom is
That's right.
attainable once you decide in your mind that you can do it.
So if you have made that decision today to get out of debt, we are here to help you. We have a totally free guide called 8 Essential Steps to Getting Out of Debt. All you have to do is go to hisandhermoney.com/8 steps. That's the number 8. Again, hisandhermoney.com/8 steps to get your free copy.
Well, that's all we got for this time, guys. It's been great. Until next time, peace.
Bye.
Welcome back to the His and Her Money Show with America's #1 money couple. I'm Talaat.
And I'm Ty, and I'm his wife.
That's right, and I'm glad.
Okay.
Wow, wasn't that amazing? It just goes to show you that, man, when you have made up in your mind
right.
that no matter what
Even though we
you're
say
gonna
this
do
50 million times on each video.
whatever it takes.
Okay. And you start out with, wasn't that amazing? You do that every time. Every time.
7 days a week.
What does he say?
A lot of things.
What does he say that's the same?
Better than I deserve.
Oh my God. You're right about that.
That's just stupid tax.
He's good for calling people stupid for saying something
That's
that something they
just
did is
stupid.
stupid.
That's just
I
stupid.
love it.
Better than I deserve. How can I help you today?